The sounds of the Silk Roads, Ethan World Cultures. Music was one of the largest entertainment uses of the Silk Roads, being cheap and easy to find. Music was a fascinating part of cultural diffusion on the Silk Road. On the map, you can see Xi'an in China, which was possibly the music capital of the world at the time. To the north of China is Mongolia, where some of the first bowstring instruments were developed. To the east of China and Mongolia is India, where the tabla drums are from. And to the west is Japan, where the shaka tuch is from. These are just a few origins of instruments on the Silk Road. The musicians of the Silk Road were from all over Asia, Europe, Africa, and from all sorts of religions. Many were members of ensembles which would travel the Silk Roads playing music or chanting along the Silk Roads. Many of the ensemble groups that performed in Xi'an, being the musical capital. Many musicians, however, it was not a primary job, and they just did it for cheap entertainment or religious purposes. The wind instruments of the Silk Roads include the shakatuch, and the ney, and the sheng. The sheng is a flute made of bamboo that is from Japan. The sheng is a mouth organ that resembles the rings of a phoenix and is most popular during the Tang Dynasty. The ney is a flute in the Middle East. Wind instruments were the breath of music on the string instruments of the Silk Road include the pipa, the moonlute, the uruthu, the kamenaks, and the shudraga. The uruthu is a hukwen, which is similar to a violin. The kamenaks is a Persian string instrument. The shudraga is a Mongolian instrument made of wooden snakeskin. String instruments drum music across the percussion instruments of the Silk Road include the tabla drums and the cymbals. The tabla drums are from India. Cymbals accompanied drums and percussion of the Silk Road. Percussion instruments were the pattern. The music of the Silk Roads began long before the Silk Road itself began. For a few examples, santur music dates back to the 1600s BCE. Chinese texts say that lutes have been used since the 14th to 12th century BCE. The uruthu has been documented in Chinese music since the 1200s CE. The shakachusha has been used in Japan since the 15th century CE. Music was inside cities. Music was played everywhere. Music would be played in bazaars, caravanserais as seen, and tea houses. As well as these places, musicians would also play at festivals and on the road. Regardless of where it was played, music made an impact. Most music of the Silk Roads was used the C Phrygian scale. The Phrygian scale was a C major scale, except A, B, D, and E were flatted. Chinese music used a 5-note scale, C Phrygian scale, instead of the classic 8-note Phrygian scale. Many reasons for music on the Silk Road. One of the reasons was to entertain cheaply, because as some instruments were cheap and singing was even cheaper. It was also occasionally used for meditation or religious, motivational, and to attract people.